residents is what we're also somewhat more.
My role is about talking about libraries to get people online, which is kind of a different angle, but similar to some of the things that have been talked about all this afternoon. I'm going to talk about equality, aspiration and intervention. So, in the UK we don't talk about e-inclusion, we talk about digital inclusion. And there's a big difference between digital exclusion and digital inclusion. Digital exclusion is a symptom and digital inclusion is a solution. So you saw this last week, that Finland declared that access to broadband internet was a human right. Yeah? That's interesting because that's about access to the technology, and I'm going to say a bit more about that in a moment. We launched something this year called Digital Britain. This is the only slide I'm going to talk about. Digital Britain has, as its very first chapter, the idea of digital equality. It says that if we're going to have a digital Britain, if we're going to build pipes, if we're going to build companies who can help us to have a digital Britain, actually we need to make sure that everybody can access that technology. And Digital Britain emphasised the role of digital inclusion. The role is to get people using technology to transform their lives. It's not about technology itself. So, I run UK Online Centres. We have 3,500 member centres in the UK, and they include types of partners like community centres, social housing, shops, schools, children's centres, religious buildings, farms, pubs, homeless shelters, and 2,000 of the 3,500 of those centres. So we have about 2 million people use our centres every year. As you can tell, we're not getting 2 million new people online every time, otherwise we would have been absolutely at the top of that graph. So we get about 0.5 to 1 million new people on the internet a year. A third of those people have absolutely no qualifications whatsoever. So going back to what Jan was saying earlier, they're poor in many other ways. And 98% of our users rate the service they get in those centres as good or excellent. So in the UK, 21% of adults have never used the internet. So we're near the top of that graph, but we still have 1 in 5 people never, ever, 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 ever having used the internet. That's a lot, isn't it? It's a case of social equity. More than half people in the lowest social grades have never used the internet. And this research came out from the Oxford Internet Institute study, which is very good because you can see trends in this study since 2009. 97% of people who earn more than £40,000 a year use the internet, but only 38% of people who earn less than £12,500 per year. It's kind of easy now, the pound and the euro are the same, unfortunately. But that is so stark. That is so stark. The other thing that we particularly were interested in finding out in that research was that internet users, so in the lower socioeconomic groups, the people who were on the internet, their confidence in their ability to find work or to keep their job outstripped those who were offline by 25%. So that is their perception of their ability to find work was significantly higher than those that were offline. And in recession, that's very important. So how do we do it? Why are people not online? So what are the barriers? We know what the motivations are, but we now want to look at the barriers. So the 3 main barriers to not being online remain the same now as they were in 2007. First of all, it's access. Closely behind it is motivation. They can't see the point of it. And thirdly, it's skills and confidence. They don't know what to do if they got there. So what can we do? What's the right intervention? I say we know what to do. We build on what we know and we build on what we've got. So, for example, in the UK, 70% of people who live in social housing are not online. That's almost a third of everybody who is offline. So, what should we do about it? There is a why I'm going this evening is because tomorrow we have our annual Get Online Day. This is our third Get Online Day. In the last 2 years, we've got 22,000 people online in those 2 days. And what we do is we do mass publicity. So my organisation does PR with the press. We will be on the sofa, the primetime BBC breakfast telly tomorrow morning with a chap who used to be in one of our main soap operas called Coronation Street, who wasn't online 2 weeks ago, and he's got online for Get Online Day. And he's going to be talking about his experience tomorrow on BBC television. We also we create marketing packs. So this is a kind of combination of mass and local. We know that at the local level, the centres need things to help them to organise their events. They need things to help people to get there. They need things for them to do and make the centre look nice, like balloons. And then they need to do things to follow up afterwards, have a card for them to take away so they can post it to make sure that they come back. So we do that nationally. We create those packs for the events. So tomorrow there are 750 events running in England, 750 Get Online days, and 245 of those are in libraries. Targeted. There's a UK Online Centre in 85% of the most deprived areas in England. And libraries, the reason why I haven't really distinguished between libraries and UK Online Centres is because in my mind they are the same thing. Some libraries are very, very good UK Online Centres and others aren't. Some community centres are very, very good UK Online Centres and others aren't. So there doesn't seem to be a magic formula to say that libraries are the best place to get people who are offline, online, but nor are they the worst. We have 3 models really for UK Online Centres, and this includes libraries too. So model 1, where there's very, very strong community links, and particularly they go out into the community and do outreach sessions with laptops. And 2 libraries that are very good at doing this are Gateshead and Leeds, and I think Ian is going to talk a bit about some of these examples tomorrow. Model 2 is where we get a library, because in England, libraries are full of computers accessing the internet, but where they have a dedicated UK Online zone. So if you know nothing, if you're one of those people who are frightened, you think that you're the last person left in the country who doesn't know how to use the internet, I met that lady in Newcastle, in England, and you can have a really safe zone that you can go to. They do drop-in with one-to-one support. Good examples of that is Camden Libraries at Holborn, Devon Libraries at Exeter, and Leicester Libraries. Model 3 is probably the one that is actually easier to implement, particularly quickly, is where they run courses. So they'll have a computer suite, they'll put on courses, 3 to 4 week courses, beginner courses, many libraries do this, but Derby is one example I visited recently, and they do targeted courses as well. For example, in Gateshead they ran a course where the strapline was, got an iPod for Christmas and don't know how to use it. So how do you market this stuff so you reach the people who are very, very tentative to come and step through your doors in the first instance? So it's all about people, getting people online so that they have transformative experiences in their lives. This young man is called Lucas. He is 18 years of age, and about a year before this photo was taken, he spent his days sleeping and his nights drinking. He doesn't mind me talking about it because he wants to be a role model for other young people in his situation. He was disabled, he was deaf in one ear, he did very badly at school, he ended up living in a hostel in Birkenhead in Liverpool. So a hostel for young people. And in this hostel they happened to have a UK Online Centre, and the very good people there said to Lucas, come to our centre, have a go, the internet is a wonderful thing. Probably they said it's slightly better than that. So he did, he went in, and very quickly he picked it up, he realised it was much better spending his days in the UK Online Centre and his nights sleeping, and he then became a volunteer, and you can see him there teaching an older person to use the internet. He's now an absolute evangelist for the internet, and he goes down to that park bench, he really does, he goes down to that park bench and tells those other kids to stop drinking and to get themselves on the internet, and he's doing a course so he's progressing towards qualifications. So thank you very much.